All right, it looks like we are live. Hi, beautiful people. I'm gonna see if I can also see the chat at the same time so I can see y'all's messages. If you're here, let me know, say hi, hi, hi. I wanted to talk about how we learn best. So I've been getting messages from some of y'all who are trying to learn new skills, or they're trying to go deeper into some of the skills that you've already been playing around with. Be it you're trying to do better with business, or you're trying to get better with your financial health. You're learning a new skill that you're going to add to your life. Maybe you're playing around with energy work more and you'd like to make sure that you're caring for yourself as you're doing for that. So I want to make sure that we look at, well, how do you best learn? Because the other aspect that I'm seeing in a lot of your message is you're comparing yourself to a lot of other people. You're comparing yourself to how they learn, how quickly they're getting their results, or you are setting yourself up to have a lot slower of the results that you'd like to have because you're not actually choosing to add these new skills, to learn this new content in the way that actually works for you. So do you know how you learn best? Some of you may know this. Some of you are new to the group. Hi, we're new to the group. I'm Siris, and I am a speech language pathologist. I am a learning behavioral specialist, feeding therapist, therapeutic energy worker, a whole bunch of other stuff. Today, it's the learning behavioral specialist hat that I'm going to wear. Hey, you like my hat? You like my hat? I'm going to pause here. I see that there's some people on. Hi. All right, cool. Yeah, I muted myself for a minute. Yeah, that was intentional. So, because I wanted to make sure the sounds don't overlap on here. Sometimes it does that. So here's the thing. Would you like to learn a new skill? If you're somebody that's learning a new skill right now, that maybe you've been taking some trainings, maybe you have been wanting to add some different strategies or content, different apps, different programs to your repertoire. If you're somebody that's looking to play around with different energies and add these different energies to your arsenal. Hey, Mike. Put something in the chat saying, yes, I'm learning to do this, and give me an idea as to what that is. And if you're catching this as a replay later, don't worry. I'm going to check all responses. I'm going to check the comments because I want to make sure that whatever I'm talking about and whatever we follow up on with this is actually something that's going to benefit you. So let's say you're trying to date differently. Maybe that how you've been dating isn't really working for you, or you'd like to build up your skill set with that. Maybe it's about you actually being able to be more consistent with the skills that you are applying. Consistency is really key. If we're doing it every once in a while, it's not really going to build up our muscles with whatever it is that we're working on. So what is that thing for you that you're trying to learn better? Like for me right now, I'm really looking to make sure that I am consistent with my videos for y'all, that I am really making sure that I carve out time just for consultations and then have other days that are just for the actual direct client time, instead of having the day being so much of a mismatch. I actually like the combo a little bit, but I'm getting that I do best when there's like a good groove of one chunk and then a good groove of another chunk, and have it in segments instead. That's something that my business is asking for right now. I'm learning to also receive even more. You might have checked out my blog post about resilience and receiving, and it's in our group, and it's on my website if you go to my blog. So check all those out. But what is the thing that you'd like to learn? And it doesn't have to be just one thing. Pick one to start off with and to go about this exercise that I'm going to do right now in this video, but then go ahead and apply this to each of those other aspects that you'd like to learn as well. Because the key thing is I suspect that for many of you, how you learn will actually cross all these different areas of your life. And so maybe you're just thinking about it just education, or it's just when it's something about movement that this is how I learn, or it's just about when it's interpersonal stuff, then this is how I learn, this is what I need. Well, that could be the case. And yet for many of us, we have a dominant or primary way that we learn first. And then there's other ones that we might adjust and tweak depending on the situation, depending on a whole bunch of different factors that is going to be beyond this video today, because I want to make this short and succinct for you. I know y'all are busy, so I want to make sure you get this information. So for each of you, like, when was the last thing that you learned that was a new skill? And I'm going to put this also in our chat. Okay. This is going to be key, because was the way that you learned it, the way that you went about learning it, was that effective for you? Was it as quick and as easy as it could have been, that you're aware that it could be? Or was it kind of clunky and you were really like frustrated and it was really slow and you were like, oh my gosh, why is everybody else ahead of me? Or like all these different possibilities. Any of these, if any of that was going on, let me know. Okay. And so if it was something where it was really easy and smooth, where it was fast, we were able to grab it really quickly, how exactly did you learn it? How exactly was the type of input of the information? Okay. So input's really key. So we have to look at three aspects. We're going to look at input, we're going to look at processing, and we're going to look at output. The first two are the key part for right now that a lot of people have the biggest issues with, because when we get to the output, it's kind of like the result, and it's kind of like how you show up and you start being the skill that you're trying to add to your skill set, to your life. Okay. So input. This is the thing that I specialize in the most, because a lot of people don't realize that if they change how things are presented to them, how the input comes in, they can actually integrate it and process it differently and more easily, which is that second step. So input. Well, do you benefit from things having visuals like pictures, or is it more visuals as in text? Do you actually can see the things on a page in your head after you've read it? Or do you, even when you're reading things, are you creating pictures in your head? That is probably the case for many of you. If that's the case for you, go ahead and pop in the chat. Yes, I'm visual. Yes, I like pictures. Or yes, I like the words. I need to see it. Even when somebody tells me the word, am I spelling it out in my head so I can remember it? Or is it that I heard it and just by me hearing it, that was sufficient and I got it? It's like a recording in my head. And it's funny because I have this unique name, and my name has become like a barometer for me to know how somebody learns. If someone said, here's my name, and immediately says it correctly, Siris, boom. I'm like, ooh, they're very auditory. They have like, they're really good and they have a strength with the auditory. If they need me to spell it out for them and also say it, they need a combo of the visual, they're picturing the letters in their head with the auditory. If they need me to clap it out, Siris, Raquel, Verdejo, right? Siris, Raquel, Rivas-Verdejo, which I did with somebody earlier today that was interviewing me on a podcast. The clapping did not work for her. The auditory did not work for her. The visual worked a little bit. And then it was the visual plus the movement of me saying it and seeing my lips. And she had to move through it, like feel it in her mouth. I was like, oh, okay, she's actually more of a tactile person. She's an experiential person. She has to kind of like chew on it, feel it in her mouth before she can get that word. So what is it for you? When the last time that you learned something, which way did you do it? Did you do visuals? Did you do it only auditorily where you were hearing the content? Did you read it and do a combo of the reading it or the listening to it? Reading it, sorry, and listening to it combined? Was it about touching it out? Like a lot of my kindergarten teachers and elementary school teachers that are in our group will do that syllable and we touch the arm, right? For each syllable, because some kids need the touch, right? And so instead of mariposa for butterfly, you say mariposa, and then mariposa, and you slide it all together. So you segment it out with each clap or each tap, and then you blend it together so you're not going to talk like a robot, right? So if you're someone that you're like, I'm really sensitive to touch, I never thought of incorporating that into my learning, I'm not surprised, because of a lot of adults, they think that they have to only rely on the visual or the auditory or the combination, and they don't add in the movements or the touch. And that is a game changer, y'all. Game changer. And it doesn't have to be weird. It doesn't have to have you stand out in the middle of a meeting unless you want to. Like, I don't care. I'll do whatever works, be it in a meeting or in a freaking airplane. Like, if it's going to work for my body and for me to learn something that I want to learn. But for those of you that you're like, I don't really want to stand out that much, that's fine. But find the way that's going to help you learn. So some other examples. So we talked about what was the last new skill you learned. Was it effective? Was it not effective? If it was effective, vroom, vroom, vroom. Lean into that, note that for yourself, and be like, how was it? And let me see if I can apply that to these other things in these other areas of my life where I'm trying to be more consistent, where I'm trying to go deeper, where I'm trying to add in a new strategy, a new program, a new skill to my repertoire. Okay. Now, if it didn't work, well, let's look at these things. Is it that you need to actually switch to a new way of inputting the information, or add a new input? Okay, so switch or add. All right. Hey, I see some more people on. Say hi. Let me know you're here. With that, here's the thing: is that a lot of people, they'll switch and switch and switch and switch. That's what a lot of people will come to me to be like, I'm just changing it and changing and changing it. They're not recognizing that there are aspects potentially of what they did before that might have worked. And so then they're setting themselves up for failure and frustration in a different way. So was there some aspect of what you were doing and how you were teaching yourself, or how you were learning this new skill, this new information that worked for you, that you can add, that you can keep? And then it's just about expanding upon it by adding on this other new way of input. So I do this a lot, where I have something visual, then I'll add the touch, or where I have something auditory, and then I'll do the movement, which is also visual, especially if the person's doing it with me. They're seeing it, they're feeling it, and they're hearing it. Like, I work with a lot of kiddos and adults that have a hard time pronouncing longer words or more complicated jargon and things like that, be it for their industry, like, there's certain business jargon that is just unique for their field, or for kids when it's just like they're learning a new skill and they're learning a new words, and in Spanish the words are longer. So we have to work on anaranjado, because orange, boom, boom, orange is really short. Anaranjado is the word for orange in Spanish in some countries, not all Latin American countries. So what is the thing that's going to work for you? And is it about switching to something else, or is it about adding a new modality? Okay. And if you're still not quite clear on this, I get it, because it's taken me years to really hone this. I love doing this. And this is one of the things that I can talk about for hours and I geek out about, because when you find the thing that really, really works for you, that's like, that's the thing. Oh my gosh. The relief that shows up is amazing. And I got to see this very clearly in my family. My sister learns completely different than my brother, that learns completely different than me, that learns completely different with my mom. My mom is a kindergarten teacher, and she knew how to do differentiated instruction in her classroom, and she definitely did that with us as kids. And so she knew for me that I'm very visual, that I could have the text in front of me. I loved reading. I loved feeling the papers and hearing the sound of the paper. I could hear to this day certain books, and I'm like, ooh, this is the type of paper for this one book I read in elementary school, and now the paper's changed, and I'm like, oh, the paper is going to change my experience, because I'm also very experiential in my learning. All right. If I actually get to do the thing that I'm learning, and this is another type of input, if I am actually able to get it, hear the information and instructions, and immediately put it into practice, I integrate it, remember it more clearly. Does that apply to you? Are you someone that needs to maybe see it and start immediately kind of playing around with it, messing with the blocks, putting it into practice on the computer, seeing it and splattering the paint on the canvas and seeing where it lands? or is it something else? Okay, this is really, really key for each of us to know, so that we judge each other and ourselves less, so that we get faster results, so that it's easier for us, and so that we can keep expanding our worlds because life is it's a lifelong learning process. It's a lifelong learning journey. And I'd like that to be as easy for you as possible. Okay. And if you have any questions and you'd like to have a consultation with me so that you can get a personalized analysis on how you learn for whatever area of your life, you can book a consultation with me. I'm going to put the link to that at the end of this video. You can also message me directly if you'd like the link as well. But I hope that this discussion, it's a preliminary kind of simple, just introduction discussion, is helpful to you so that you get out of judgment of yourself and that you can actually start choosing the type of input and the type of receiving of information that will actually work for you moving forward. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any questions, reach out, and have a good day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Bye for now.